I support everything and anything that Federation seeks to do. It was the Federation programs that really solidified my Jewish identity when many of you were watching me grow up on television, and you were growing up as well. I grew up in Los Angeles and went to Federation programs from the time that I was, about 10, all the way through when Blossom ended when I was 19. So I'm really personally very grateful to be here. I'm still involved with my Federation. I volunteer for the Jewish Free Loan of Los Angeles, and anyway, I'm personally grateful to be here. So a little bit of my story is that 3 of my 4 grandparents are immigrants from Eastern Europe. They were fleeing the pogroms and the terror that was brought upon our people in the years leading up to the start of the Second World War. My family was deeply affected by the Holocaust. My grandmother on my mother's side lost her parents and 6 of her siblings. My family was largely really broken, I would say, by the war, and they came to America and worked in sweatshops on the Lower East Side of New York. And my grandparents met in the sweatshops. Sounds very romantic. My parents were both raised in the South Bronx under parents who were fearful, cautious, frugal is a nice way of saying what they were, and very, very strict. My parents associated a lot of the difficulty of their childhoods with traditional Judaism, although that's not the reason their childhood was difficult. Their childhood was difficult because they were coming from this really, really heavy history of the Holocaust. However, my parents left traditional Judaism behind when they got married, and they were rebellious and brave. And I like to say it's kind of amazing that that was the product of all of the difficulty that many Jews were raised with at that time. My parents came out very, very resilient. They made anti-war documentaries. They traveled the country with a 16mm camera and a lot of bell-bottoms and really long hair, both of them. I was raised in a Reform synagogue in Los Angeles, but there was a lot of remnants of my mother's orthodoxy at home. We had 2 sets of dishes, but I thought they were breakfast and dinner dishes. That's because breakfast was almost always dairy and dinner was not dairy. We celebrated Hanukkah and Pesach and the High Holy Days. We celebrated Shabbat in a limited fashion. But I was raised with a true love of being Jewish. And I like to point out that even though my parents may have struggled with what they wanted to observe and how they wanted to live their Jewish life, with as much of their resources and abilities as they could, they raised me with a tremendous love of being Jewish, and I'm very grateful to them for that. I became an actress for a lot of reasons, largely because I liked making people happy. And I'm very grateful that I've been on 2 sitcoms in my 20 years in the industry. I'm now, though, the mother of 2 young sons. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 5-year-old. And honestly, my goal in life, as many people you will speak to who have children, is to raise my children to be good people, to be strong Jews, to have a deep sense of responsibility, to make the world a better place, tikkun olam, to repair this world, and also to raise them with a love for whatever force in the universe makes the sun come up every day. I personally chose to expand Jewish observance in college when my husband and I were dating, and the structure and the logic of halachic and kind of legal Judaism really resonates with me, as does living the principles of the Torah to the best of my ability. However, my Jewish identity exists alongside my observance and not because of it. My identity, and all of our identities, are not predicated on how many mitzvahs we do. Judaism is not a cafeteria religion, it's a tribe of cumulative acts. Each mitzvah is independent. For example, every time we light candles, it's an act that cannot be negated or diminished by the activities we choose to engage in before or after we light those candles. So, in the interest of not boring you with the details of my love of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, my decision over 3 years ago not to wear pants in public, or the myriad ways I like to clean my microwave to prepare for Passover, and also, I won't bore you with my deep passion for Yeshiva University's a cappella group, the Maccabees. I've decided to do something different, and I should have compared notes with Vanessa because I have my own Letterman-style top 7. I thought that was a more appropriate Jewish number. So I have a top 7 things in my career and personal life that I would not have been able to experience or do were I not Jewish.